We're going to be talking about a few cards that you're going to keep an eye on, or at least make sure that you have some of these stocked away just in case the predictions come true. You guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. We're going to be starting off with the Amphibious Swarm Ship Omblo Whale. Now, before you're like, what in the world is this card? Well, it's 2+ effect monsters to make it on a Link 4, and it had a sneak peek promo out of Dark Neostorm. This thing gains 200 attack points for each Link monster in your graveyard. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. So if this card is destroyed, you can target a Link 3 or lower monster in either graveyard and special summon it. And if a Link 3 or lower monster on the field is destroyed by a battle card effect, while this card is in your graveyard, bench this card to destroy one card on the field. You're going to notice something very, very important about this card. It has that fire attribute symbol up there. Now, for those of you that don't know this, the OCG and actually Master Duel just got a Link 3 that locks you into fire monsters while it's on the field. That also gets the chance to revive a fire monster. Now, a lot of the OCG over the week here has been talking about Omblo Whale and the application with the Link 3. You know, you can go, hey, you can get a free revive with this, and you can climb on up into the Omblo Whale, and then, you know, if something happens to the Omblo Whale floats back down into said Link 3, and then kind of gives you the chance to kind of, you know, turn this on into another pop. Now, for all real consideration, I think that this is very interesting for the application that they're trying to push this for, but I would make sure that, if anything, I'd make sure I had 1 to 2 copies of Omblo Whale, just in case, you know, the early predictions that the OCG's been talking about for these combos actually do work out, because they're using like Pit Knight early with the Link 3, and then essentially climbing on up to the Omblo Whale, and then using the Omblo Whale to kind of abuse some of the pop effects. And it's definitely interesting to see, you know, we don't have a lot of good fire Link 4s floating around right now. Obviously the Infernoid one is coming, so keep an eye on this card. I think this is a very solid pickup, all real things considered. Now, speaking of channel sponsors, our dear friends over at Ewin sent us a brand new chair for the office. And actually, this isn't the first time that we actually have one of their chairs for our office. Now, this is actually amazing. The fact that we've been building this amazing collection of these has been very nice. They've been the go-to gaming chair that we could get, considering the fact that these armrests, absolutely amazing, and the fact that the reclining on these chairs, trust me on this, these things go back extremely well for your reclining purposes, for whatever that you might need. Now, are you interested in acquiring one of these chairs for yourself? I mean, weight capacity is up to 400 pounds. This one over here, way more. You got a variety of them available for your purchasing. And if you use discount code MCO40, you will get the chance to save 25% on your purchase. And to be honest with you, I'm really sick of sitting in this thing. This thing has been an absolute pain on my butt. So the fact that we've been able to add on to the office here and actually have a somewhat nice play area, for example, here, so you can get yours. I'll leave a link down below so you can get your Ewin gaming chair. Like I said, you got plenty of variety available for you, and discount code MCO40 is going to save you 25% on your purchase, and Black Friday's coming, so I can only imagine what other goodies will be coming then as well. Next up is the Ghost Rare Sunlight Wolf. Now, there has been a massive debate about this card, and a lot of people have kind of said the same thing, you know, besides like, oh my gosh, Soul Burning Volcano is such a terrible set, you know, why do I want this? Ew. Well, here's an interesting little thing with this. Sunlight Wolf's recurability is the thing that we care about here. Now, slowly, over time, Sunlight Wolves have been creeping up. There was a time where you could get Sunlight Wolves at the $55 mark, and it was a pretty consistent pickup overall, but times have changed. We're now sitting at about $65 at this point in time, but the major thing with this is once again, you're looking at all of this fire support that's coming out here. You know, Fire Kings being another one of those stupid decks that's going to look at this card and go, hey, recurable assets. I like this. You know, the fact that you can bring back, you know, all sorts of anything you really want, honestly, for the Fire King stuff. and then be able to kind of toggle off. I mean, not to mention, Fire King stuff is another solid pickup for this. keep an eye on the Ghost Rider Sunlight Wolf, considering the fact that this is technically the highest rarity for it. I mean, tomorrow Konami could go, hey, we're going to print this in an ultimate rare, and they could effectively destroy the value on this. But if you're somebody out here that's looking at the fire decks and you're like, hey, you know, there is some potential to this, you know, I like the idea that we could actually pick this up, then, you know, it's a good one-of for the recurability assets that it gives you. And I mean, honestly, the card just looks great. Obviously, this goes for the low rarity stuff as well. Make sure you have a Sunlight Wolf if you're planning on playing anything in the fire-related categories, because it's good. All right? Absolutely a banger. Next up, now this is interesting to me. We're back at Guilty Gear Freed, the Magical Steel Knight. And I don't know what it is with this card, but I tend to look around at this card every other week, and they're getting cratered off of the face of the market. And it mind boggles me, because there's nothing too crazy about this card. Okay, so it's 2 warrior monsters with different attributes. Once per turn, when a card or effect is activated that targets this card, quick effect, you negate that effect, and if you do, destroy 1 card on the field. If this card was fusion summon using only monsters on the field as material, it gets second attack, so your 2700 can attack twice. And then once per turn, if this card battles opponent's monster during damage calc, you can banish 1 spell card from your graveyard. This gains attack equal to half of that monster's current defense until the end of the turn. Super poly target, honestly, I was looking at the Ultras, and the Ultras haven't really gone terminal in terms of price. It's mainly just the fact that the quarter century, or the collector's rare version, is the one that's kind of spinning around here, losing its minds. So keep an eye on this thing. You gotta love the fact that all of these generic super poly targets tend to be doing something in terms of, I mean, we've had Draco Knight Draco Quest out here going up in price too. I mean, Starving Venom as well. Like, super poly targets are always going to be something that the meta wants. Mud Dragon is another classic example of things that have kind of shot up in price over time here. And I mean, Guilty, really nothing short of an example for that. But what do you want me to tell you? All right, do you want me to tell you go out and buy them? No, I wouldn't be picking this up. I would just keep an eye on it. If you had one and you're already looking at these, you're like, wow, $20. I mean, the regular version has 74 listings on the market, and they're at $2 a piece. Something to consider. All right. Now, the next one's a little bit more brain dead than I really should say, but it's Raid Raptor stuff. I'm not going to lie. I sat down the other day, and I watched about an hour and a half of combo videos. I did my research into this. I was genuinely impressed, because I was looking at a lot of the buyouts that were happening with this. I was sitting here, I was like, is this really worth it? You have 1-card combos that are amazing. Obviously, Nibiru is not a very fun card for this deck, and I believe you've got, what, like a 2-card FTK? I believe it was like a 2-card FTK that people were talking about with the Raid Raptor stuff. But what is it? Tribulanius is still a stupid card for the deck. Literally, that card causes all this insane, like, BS. I do expect a lot of this stuff to probably get reprinted later in its life, but right now, if you're like, I need it now, Tribulanius is coming in at a nice little $4 mark. To be honest with you, I would say go watch some of the combo videos for Raid Raptors. You're going to just be intrigued by this deck. Also, the fact that we now have an upgraded version of Awakening the Dragon target on a rank 13 that just is unaffected by anything is kind of insane, honestly. So, full disclaimer, watch some of the combo videos. If you think that Raid Raptors, you're like, oh, you know, like, I kind of want to pick this deck up, you know, is it going to be easy to learn? No, it's not going to be easy to learn at all. Actually, I think kind of the opposite here. I think that this deck is going to be extremely difficult. It's probably one of the more interesting combo decks in terms of variations and things. I'd almost put it in the same category as Rika Sun Avalon. For, you know, you have all these different little combo lines and things. Obviously, they kind of get to the same place. But every hand with Raid Raptors is entirely different the way it looks. So, it's my personal opinion. I think that it's going to be a very fun deck. But keep an eye on everything, all right? You are only going to hurt yourself if you don't pick this stuff up and make sure you have it. And then, of course, is the Aromage stuff. Now, this is also probably going to go into the category of Eureka Sun Avalon, some of the other necessary stuff that's kind of floating around out there as well. But But let's be honest, Jasmine is probably the center point of this. But the problem is Jasmine should probably be up for a reprint at this point in time. Konami knows players are going to be looking at the Aromage stuff right now going, wow, we have all these different 2-card combos. All right, and I already thought that Rika Sun Avalon as an engine was already insanely crazy as it is. Well, what happens when we toss even more into the fire out here in terms of what this deck can actually do? And that's honestly kind of what I'm expecting is, you know, Rika Sun Avalon stuff on the checklist, Aromage stuff on the checklist. Those new cards really do add a lot of crazy flavor out here. And I already know the European competition's about to lose their minds over this. So put plant stuff on your watch list. Keep an eye on it, especially when you give this much combo potential to decks. You definitely need to be aware of some of the crazy power that you're kind of giving to these decks. It's actually fairly crazy. So that's where we're kind of sitting right now. I know some of that stuff was fairly obvious to kind of consider, but keep in mind the market is always going to be a very interesting place. There's always a lot of hype and a lot of ideas that are kind of coming out here, and then people kind of want to see how these ideas genuinely will come together. So please, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.